is going on, everybody? I'm back again with another video, and I'm here in Bay Ridge in Brooklyn, New York, and I've covered this neighborhood a few times a couple of years ago, and this is an amazing neighborhood right here in Brooklyn. I'm in a beautiful residential street, and this neighborhood is pretty diverse, you know, people from all over, but it has a really high Middle Eastern community. So I'm gonna start here from 95th Street and walk all the way towards the southern tip of the neighborhood by Shore Road, and then I'm gonna start making my way up to the northern part of the neighborhood to show you the diversity that's happening over here. So without further ado, join me. We're here, this is a regular street, and it's mostly residential with nice houses. But if you go between the 80 streets and the other side, the houses are gonna be pretty gorgeous. And over here's the intersection of 4th and 5th Avenue. It's a little triangle over there. Then if you go towards that way, the neighborhood gets pretty busy. You can see how beautiful the sky is. The weather is actually gorgeous today. Not hot, not cold, like the low 80s and no humidity. You can see perfection how beautiful the sky is. We got St. Patrick's Church right there. I'll tell you, this neighborhood, I'll never get bored. And ahead of me, you're gonna see the view of the Verrazano Bridge. If you go in the other parts of the neighborhood, it's really gonna make you feel like if you're in the suburbs. Kind of gonna give you like that vibe of Flatbush Avenue, but I feel like every street in this neighborhood is totally worth to explore. So we are in for a treat, you know, beautiful weather, the vegetation, you know, this neighborhood has a lot of trees, you know, and it's a pretty big neighborhood. Like, it could take you a while to walk from one side to another one, but I'm gonna do my best to cover the most I can, you know. Then a little detour in the street and look at this beautiful brick buildings. But it got different type of architecture over here in the beautiful neighborhood of Bay Ridge. See, it's gorgeous. But now I'm gonna cross the street to see if I can get the shot of the Verrazano Bridge. And then it should take me to a local park. This is kind of like the borderline of Dyker Heights, and they also got Fort Hamilton, which is like a military base. So it's private, so I cannot go in there, but I can get like a little close-up around the area. So then this is 4th Avenue over here. And you can see it's mostly apartment complex. I tell you, this neighborhood like really has it all. Then if I go, this would be a waterfront where you could walk literally by near the river with the borderline of Staten Island. And the way to commute here is by the R train. Like I told you, over here it's gonna be really residential, but you're gonna see the contrast of the neighborhood once I start making it towards 5th Avenue. You know, 5th Avenue goes all the way to Park Slope, and it passes also Sunset Park. I'm trying to focus like the opposite way by the suburb area over here, by the waterfront. Then we're gonna make our way towards the busy area of 5th Avenue, where they got a lot of Middle Eastern joints like restaurants, shops, bakeries, you know. Also, 3rd Avenue is another main avenue around here in Bay Ridge. So like I say, there's so much to do out here. There at the end, you see the Verrazano Bridge surrounded by the neighborhood. Then it merges around and takes you to Belt Parkway. Over here, I'm walking in direction towards the bridge, and look how impeccable the sidewalk is. I can tell it kind of gives it like a little vibe of a small town feel, but this is just the heart of Brooklyn, New York. This neighborhood judged the book by its cover. If you look at the map, it doesn't look like it's a big neighborhood. I've only walked like a little tiny portion, but I feel like I've covered a lot in such a short period of time. And if you go down this way over here, it'll take you to Fort Hamilton over that way. But it's divided by the highway, so, you know, I feel like it's a little bit isolated, but yeah. A block of me should be a nice local park. Then I'm gonna cover that, and I'm gonna start making it towards Shore Road. But it's gonna be like a really nice road over there with a nice apartment complex, also like a lot of vegetation and trees out there. So another cool thing they have here, house is kind of like, they call it the gingerbread house. We're gonna make it towards there in a bit. I haven't been there in a minute, so I wanna showcase you what the house looks like. This over here is John Paul Jones Park. And there's a nice local park out here. It has like this in the middle, the history. It's called the Dover Patrol Monument. And then that's like the beginning of where the bridge is, the Verrazano Bridge. I will take you to Staten Island. Then like a little exhibition over here that's really cool. Then this local park that I'm walking, it kind of merges with Shore Park. Which Shore Park is kind of like the Riverside Park by the Upper West Side, like something similar to that, but it's mostly in the Bay Ridge area, and it goes all the way to the northern tip of the area. So then Shore Road is ahead of me, so I'm showing you what's around here. So we're gonna start making a couple of blocks of Shore Road, and then start merging into like the mid 80th Street or the lower 80th Street. Over there, it's gonna look pretty nice because they got the houses that are pretty nice with a lot of trees in the road. So let's go over that side. And here's the monument. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it says the monument to the Dover Patrol, erected as a tribute to the comradeship and service of the American naval forces in Europe during the World War So yeah, a little bit of history out here. This is part of Shore Road, and you could go down that way. It would take you towards the waterfront. I did that, I think, the last time I came, and it passes underneath the bridge. And if you go over here, there's a lot of trees and mostly apartment complex. It's gonna get nicer the more I walk ahead, so it's gonna show you what's happening. But so far, I'm loving like the combination of nature and urban areas, you know, together. Then over here, they got a bike lane too, so you can bike out here, you know, while you're in the neighborhood. And I'm doing a little bit of cardio going up the hill around here. You can see what I'm surrounded by. Nature. Then if you go all the way down, like I say, it's just a local park that takes almost the entire west side area of Bay Ridge. And then you got the waterfront there that you can walk and jog. Then the Verrazano Bridge is right behind me, but the trees are literally blocking the view. And then towards my right is a beautiful apartment complex. So I figure my next block, I'm gonna cross the street and start showing you some of the residential areas that we got towards my right. Here you can see what I'm talking about. Some of the apartments by Shore Road. That goes all the way up the hill, you know. So a pretty cool chill area. And years ago, I heard about this neighborhood, but I didn't know it was this nice. The only way I found out it was nice because I took the ferry from Wall Street to Rockaway Beach, but it's about a 45-minute commute, and it was passing right next to this area. I'm like, wow, these apartments look pretty nice. So I decided to come here and explore the area after I found out when I was taking that ferry, and I tell you, it's pretty awesome. This is, hello doggy. Pretty awesome. This is probably like maybe like a 40-minute commute into Manhattan, depending what part. 35 to 40-minute commute, you know, depending on the time too. So there's more over here. And then if you walk into the regular streets outside of this, there's gonna be some nice houses. Like I say, a pretty massive neighborhood. I'm just loving the blue sky that we got here. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of giving me a vibe like if I'm in Upper West Side. Like a little bit of that, but without the tall, high residential areas, but a little bit of that similar chill vibe. But over here, you know, it's much more local and pretty nice. Whoa, I almost tripped. Much more local and pretty nice. Oh, I can see a cruise ship. Damn, how can I cross the street? So I don't know how clear you guys can see it, but there's actually a big cruise going around. And then they got like a local park over there. Yeah, that's awesome. So I don't know how clear you can see it, but it's literally the cruise ship passing under the Verrazano Bridge. Wow, once in a lifetime. I'm not sure if that cruise ship goes to Staten Island. That's literally like Staten Island over that way, but that's awesome. And they got this hidden gem of a park over here. So wow, we are off to a right start out here in Bay Ridge. And I've only explored like a little portion of this beautiful neighborhood, but now I'm gonna start making my way towards a couple of blocks down to see what are the vibes and what is happening. Just look how nice and impeccable they keep the sidewalks in the residential area over here, you know. Pretty organized. These are some of the apartment complexes that are all around the Shore Road. You know, Shore Road goes all the way up towards the northern tip of Bay Ridge. It's like the entrance right there. We got more here, and then of course we're surrounded by trees. You can park out there, and they got a bike lane in both directions, so. And then this is one of the regular streets. I think it's 96th Street. It's probably covered with trees and a lot of apartments and houses. So I'm making a little detour around Ridge Boulevard to see what's going, Ridge Boulevard to see what's going on. I don't think I'll walk around this area, but this will take me towards the other side that I want to explore, where they got all the beautiful residential houses and townhouses. But even around this street is pretty gorgeous. If you see all the trees that they got going on here. What I like about this neighborhood is how they have all the vegetation. And then some of the nice houses over here that are pretty beautiful and gorgeous. That's awesome. So both directions are pretty worth to look at. Like over here, you see the apartments, then a lot of them have their own parking. Then over here too, this reminds me a little bit of portions of Sheepshead Bay. But this is Bay Ridge. I tell you, Brooklyn is really full of surprises. Just like I like Queens, I love Brooklyn a lot because they got like tons of multi-ethnic neighborhoods. And here we have this nice looking intersection with this beautiful house between Marine Avenue and Ridge Boulevard. So if I walk over here, I think it's where the neighbor is gonna get actually pretty nicer, but everywhere is nice. And you got some residential units right here. I love how blue the sky looks like. And then over here we can walk straight. We're still in the 90th Street, but we're gonna start making it towards the 80s, you know, 89th Street, 88th Street. They're labeled like in order with a perfect grid. And look at this nice looking house right here in the corner. It's gorgeous. I also see more over that way, but we're gonna make it towards this way. There should be like a local park. And then next to the local park should be the gingerbread house. I can tell you, if you're a fan of residential areas, I think you'll like Bay Ridge. It's like every street is worth to look at, and you can see how nice and clean it is. Even the main streets are nice, which we're gonna leave that for last, especially Fifth Avenue. So the cool thing is that we got a mixture of apartment complex with houses. But if you walk a little bit forward, it's gonna be mostly like houses. So it's like many types of neighborhood that in one. Because every street that you go is pretty different from another one. I think according to Google, this is actually one of the most patriotic neighborhoods in New York City. I believe it because I'm walking around, I see a lot of American flags out here. So, like I say, once you make it towards 4th and 5th Avenue, a little bit more ahead, you're gonna see how the vibes change, you know, and how the diversity happens around here in Bay Ridge. So this is like a first for me. I think they have a nice looking church over here, we're all gated up. Wow, it's pretty beautiful. I mean, this is actually a visitation academy, and this is really like highly secure. It has a gate over here. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Then, you know, a lot of cameras over here saying, you know, no trespassing. So I guess only special people can go in here. But, you know, it's pretty beautiful to look at. I can see all the walls that are connected all together. And then right next to the academy right here, that it's, you know, private area. They have, you know, nice looking apartments towards my right. And they even have like a parking lot in the first level. Then the block ahead of me is 86th Street, which goes all the way towards the eastern part of Bay Ridge, and it passes Dyker Heights and around the R-Trains where they got a lot of business, but over here it's gonna be residential, so I'm gonna merge into 85th, I believe, and that's where it's gonna start getting beautiful, like the houses and everything. So, you know, here you can see how beautiful this house is, right in the corner. 86th Street, then they got an academy right here. Yeah, but look at this house, it even has its own parking lot. And the layouts of the street here is pretty nice. Wow, the house keeps on going. Wow, look at this. It's like a mansion type right here. It's beautiful. And the entrance, of course. Not gonna lie, that house literally looks like a castle. So huge. But I can tell you, New York, a lot of people, they always think it's all skyscrapers, but they have like a lot of mansions and big houses depending what neighborhood you go. Around Brooklyn and also in Queens, New York. So, yeah, but this area gets nice. I think it's gonna get nicer once I make it to 85th Street. The houses are gonna turn nice. You're gonna see a lot of trees that cover up, so it gives it like a nice vibe of the community in the neighborhood right here. Here we are in 85th Street. And yep, it's starting to get nice. Here's another nice looking house in the corner with its parking. And the house are literally like up in a hill. You're gonna see how nice it gets once I walk ahead. Then they even got a bike lane over here, so that's really cool. And the first floor is mostly the garage or the parking, and then on top is on top is the houses. Then on the other side is nice, but the sun is literally like blocking the view. And within the block from me should be Fort Hamilton Field, which is a local park around this side. And then within another block should be the gingerbread house. It was built in 1917, and I think it was listed in the market in 2023 by $700 million. So, wow, that's a lot of money. But you're gonna see how beautiful the house is. Then here you see some of the nice townhouses, how they preserve it pretty nice. And like I said, in many of my videos, you walk around here, you would think you're in New Jersey or Long Island or even Connecticut. Like one of those towns by the waterfront. But this is Brooklyn, New York, and it just proves you everything that the borough and the whole city has to offer you. Then this is the local park right here. They're playing basketball, and then there's a field on the other side. They also got restrooms, but in the block ahead of me, I'm gonna start merging towards my left to walk in some of the regular neighbors to show you what's going on over there. So, like I say, thank God it's not brutally hot. This weather has contributed for me to walk around. This is like a big neighborhood. But yeah, like I say, perfection today. Ahead of me should be like a nice block. So this section of Bay Ridge, they also call it Fort Hamilton. And then ahead of me, right after the park, is Fort Hamilton High School. So I guess, you know, it's like divided by two, but, you know, technically part of Bay Ridge, but it's a big neighborhood. So you see the local park over there, they got a track running field, people playing football in the middle of the field, soccer, I like to call it football. So yeah, it's pretty vibrant, and then the basketball court is right here ahead of me. So a lot going on. And then within 1 block from me should be the famous gingerbread house, one of the local landmarks and attraction in this neighborhood in Bay Ridge. And over here in the corner is the famous gingerbread house. Not sure how much I can capture because it's literally covered with the trees. I think the best shot will be around here. See if I can capture something from this angle right here. So this is what over $8 million house looks like. So look at the handcraft design, it's pretty beautiful and a lot of vegetation and trees. So, opened up in 1917. So now I think this side is even better. So actually people live here. I see a car and I think I heard like a kid in one of the windows. So, but it's out in the public, so I just filmed from the outside. Look at the details, the roof and everything. Yo, this is awesome. And this area is gonna be actually nicer, They got all the beautiful houses. Colonial Street is 1 block and the other side, but over here is where you're gonna feel like if you're in the suburbs. You start seeing 82nd Street, 81st in the other one. I'm gonna make it towards this side to see what's going on. And like I tell you, it feels like you enter another world. This is still the gingerbread house. They really got a big yard. Yeah, but I think, people live there. It's not really like a museum or anything. Gonna make it here to Harbor View Terrace to see what the street looks like. I don't even know if I walk around here. And Shore Road is over that side, so. But I do love how they got all the trees and vegetation out here. So, like I tell you, the neighborhood is big, so it's much better if you have a bike and you can bike around, but then you're gonna admire all the beauty of the houses that we got going on over here. Even over here, the houses are massive. So here you see this beautiful street. Look at this house. Wonder how many rooms that they got built up over there. It's kind of giving me a little vibe of Malba, the neighborhood I film in Queens, New York. Just look at this. You gotta love the pine trees. This one's nice, and then the trees are pretty long and tall. Then they got Harbor Lane, but I think that's a dead-end road. They don't got like a road that connects. Look at this one. So beautiful. Nice, gorgeous houses. So it kind of makes it feel like a fairy tale. Like if you're in a movie or something with all this nice looking streets and houses. Like everywhere you go, it's pretty worth to look at. But I'm still gonna merge in 82nd Street or 81st. Because over there's gonna be nice too, with a bunch of trees and a lot of nice houses. Then look at this side. Look how the houses go all the way down the hill towards the waterfront. It's just actually pretty nice. Then over this side ahead of me, it gets a little bit nicer, I think, because it got like more trees, vegetation. The house is like a little bit more, like a little bit better design. So you see they got the American flag. And I'm gonna merge into my right, then a left to show you some of the streets. This is Narrows Avenue. But it's a beautiful looking street. And this is part of Narrows Avenue. You can see how nice this house is over here. And there's another one climbing up in the hill. Then ahead of me is 82nd Street, which I'm gonna merge towards my left to see what is going on in that beautiful street. And this over here is 82nd Street. Pretty nice, quiet. And then of course it got the beautiful houses. You'll see the Amazon doing some deliveries. Nice area to deliver. I'm pretty sure, it's a really highly secured area. You're most likely being monitored, but it's pretty nice to walk around here. It's crazy, most of the houses, they're like in white. See, even across the street. And it just keeps going over here. This side, it's mostly first level with parking, but then the houses are up in the hill. And then across the street, you got more of what's going on. And there's multiple streets like this in Bay Ridge. It's like, I don't know, like if it's divided in half, because once I make it towards 3rd Avenue, the vibes are gonna change over there. It's gonna look pretty different from this side. Look at this parking, how massive it is. This house, how big it is. Kind of feels like if you're in California or somewhere else. At Beverly Hills, has its gate and everything, and then across the street, you got these other houses that are up in a hill. And the best of all, trees. Trees and trees, like big trees that really helps out with the neighborhood. And look how big this tree is, and it goes all the way up. So I'm just giving you a 360 view of the entire street. Yeah, super lovely. And here they do repairs, I guess, to maintain the trees. You know, I guess make sure the tree is not gonna fall down. And here we got Colonial Road, which is a nice road. Then the houses, they turn a little bit different on this side. Now, I think I'm just gonna walk this street all the way towards Fifth Avenue, which is one of the main avenues out here. Even though Third Avenue is cool too, but I think Fifth Avenue is more solid in terms of restaurants, groceries, and it's mostly like a Middle Eastern, so it's kind of gonna feel like if you're in Steinway in Astoria, Queens, but literally, you know, right here in the heart of Brooklyn, New York. So let's walk all the way towards there to see what can we find. Then we go towards the other side of the neighborhood to wrap up the video. As I'm walking around here, the houses keeps going. So, you know, it's a really good walk, a really good urban exploration, and you see how nice the grid is with the streets and the sidewalk. And then, of course, a lot of nice houses, but I'm gonna walk towards the other side. If I see anything interesting to film, then I'll showcase you guys. I'll catch you guys in Fifth Avenue. And here I am approaching Third Avenue, which is also a main avenue out here in Bay Ridge. They got establishments, business, a little bit of everything. It goes all the way towards the northern part of the neighborhood. I think it goes all the way towards Park Slope. And then on this side, once you pass Third Avenue, you can see how the architecture starts changing in the streets. It's kind of mostly like apartment complex glued up together. But it's good that they still have a lot of trees and vegetation. Then ahead of me should be 4th Avenue. Then one more avenue down is 5th Avenue. Just like in Manhattan, we got 5th Avenue out here in Brooklyn. And the one over here is pretty cool because it's like a local vibe, but it's full and vibrant with a lot of shops and restaurants. Over here's 4th Avenue, and it seems like when I cross the street, the architecture is going to change even more. So you can see there's mostly apartment buildings, residential units. We'll walk forward until we make it a 5th. Then the vibe is changing more over here, like I say. I'm gonna cross the street over here to show you what's going on. Like I say, it's crazy how it looks like it's 2 neighborhoods in one. Where I was filming before, mostly residential units, then over here is just apartment complex. Here it has more of a Brooklyn or New York City feel. You can see like apartment units like this, you know, but I'm really excited to see what's going on in 5th Avenue. This has been a long time since I've been in this neighborhood. And here you see how it changes. Look at this units across the street. This is the same 82nd Avenue that I was filming the nice houses. Then here it's pretty different. That's the magic about New York City, how the neighborhoods change throughout the avenues that you walk. Then over here is a vibrant 5th Avenue. Both sides you can walk, and it's full of a lot of action going on. And here's mostly Middle Eastern. I hear people speaking Arabic, but the street is pretty nice because a lot of restaurants going on, a lot of business, and it's covered with trees. So let's stroll around heading up north to see what can we find. Then here you see a little bit, we got deli, bodegas in every corner. There's a supermarket ahead of me. Even got benches for you to sit down. I think it's gonna get nicer the more I walk ahead of me. Even at nighttime, it's pretty vibrant here, you know, and then you see how different this side is from the other side of the neighborhood where I started. But pretty beautiful. So if you want to get good Middle Eastern food, I think this is the neighborhood you gotta come. Also Steinway, but over here, you know, they got a lot of options for you to try. We got a Turkish restaurant, Istanbul, this halal joint across the street, so much going on here. What I like about this main street, despite, you know, all the business that it got going on, it's actually pretty chill, not busy, not crazy, and not noisy out here. They got a pizzeria here. I heard there used to be a really good pizzeria in Bay Ridge, but they shut down. But I think they got them all over the neighborhood, so like I said, there's tons of pizzerias throughout Brooklyn. What is this? Look, another pizza joint. Best of Brooklyn Bay Ridge pizza. Then here they got a chicken and burger joint. Like if you want to be on a cheat day. It's a spot of a few bakeries. around me. I also spotted like a Yemeni coffee shop, which is really good. And if you look at the regular streets, this is what it looks like. Quiet and trees and everything. So I tell you, almost every street out here is worth for me to look at. What is this? Another coffee joint right here. And Yemeni coffee is pretty strong, but it's pretty good. It'll take you forever to explore all of this, you know. There's so many options over here. It's like a little bit of a rundown. But I'm sure if you go a little bit more forward, you'll find more. Goes all the way towards the late 60s streets. So it's probably like roughly over 20 blocks for you to walk around here. Then here in the corner, you got like a fruit grocery store. Look at this watermelon, how big they are. Some of those fruit look like canepas too. And the main street keeps going. So they got all kinds of Middle Eastern joints. I saw a lot of Turkish joints, Algerian food, you know, that's the beauty about New York, like you get all types of food. I saw a joint where they sell baklava, so like I say, if you're into Middle Eastern food and kebabs and platters, this is a perfect spot for you to come. I saw a place where they were selling platters for like $10.99, so that's pretty affordable. There's more going on over here, halal meat joint, jewelry. There's more on the other side of the street, a lot of Middle Eastern flags over there, Palestinian, Lebanon, Algeria, and I think it's Egyptian, the one in the top. But yeah, so they sell a lot of cool stuff out here. And here's busy, you got like a halal meat market, and then Alpine Cinema. So they got a movie theater out here. So it's all busy over here, you know. I think over here they got like a dessert shop that's pretty famous in TikTok and Instagram. So, you know, a lot of beautiful dresses for the females. What is this, baklava? Oh, Nablus. Nablus is a city in Palestine, so they sell the sweets. I think kanafe and baklava, that's cool. And I forgot, it's like those little oatmeal pancakes that's pretty famous over there. But yeah, I'm loving this neighborhood. I'm a huge fan of street art here. You see this one over here. Pretty beautiful in the details of the colors that they do over here. So across the street, Paradise Sweets. I can see clearly they sell the kanafa. I had that when I was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The Lhasa Dessert Cafe, chocolate factory. Oh, this is the one that's famous, the Archway Chocolate Factory. I've seen videos of that joint in Instagram. I think they're in TikTok too. So they sell like some pretty crazy Middle Eastern desserts. Here we got a local park and a highway on the other side, and then the other side should be, I believe, Sunset Park. And this is what I said, this neighborhood, I like to call it the Astoria of Brooklyn. Like it has similar vibes to that, like nice residential streets, Middle Eastern community, and like, you know, a lot of similarities. So, but it's been an awesome evening walking around here in this beautiful neighborhood called Bay Ridge in Brooklyn, New York. This is gonna be a perfect spot for me to wrap up my video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Be safe out there, everybody. God bless y'all, and peace.